Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Confidence Connection Show, where we share women's stories of confidence from all around the world to hopefully empower you to build your confidence too. This week, I'm joined by the amazing Jenn Donovan, coming to us live from Australia. She is a social media marketing expert, and I can't wait to hear from her and have her share what she does and how she can help you with social media marketing and how to build your confidence too. So thank you, Jenn. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your background and how you got to be here where you are today?
Thank you, Bronte. I'm very excited to be here
I'm excited to
on a
have
Monday
you.
morning.
Yeah.
So I have a social media and marketing business. Well, I actually have two businesses. So my first and major business, I guess you could say, is a social media and marketing business. So basically, I have this vision where I want small business owners to make marketing a priority in their business. I just come
Yes.
across so many small business owners who they're busy. They're busy doing the daily grind. They're busy working in their businesses rather than on it. So that's
Yeah.
my number one goal, is to just say, look, if you want to grow, you need to learn how to market yourself better, because it's the only way that you can grow your business. So whether that's paid marketing, social media, or offline marketing, it's still marketing. And then, of course, my other business is a bit of a social enterprise. So it's called Spend With Us, and it supports
Yeah.
rural and regional small businesses in Australia. So it's a marketplace. So it's like Amazon, but it's only for rural and regional small businesses. So that is it's growing very, very fast. So that's keeping me very busy. And I used to call it my side hustle, but now I think it's taken over my life. So
I love that. That's so cool. And I love the Spend With Us. We've over the last year, with everything that's been happening, we've in New Zealand had a similar sort of idea pop up through a
yeah.
Facebook group, and then they've developed a website where it's just small New Zealand businesses, to a place where you can just know that you're buying direct
Mm,
from the producer and it's all small and local. So I love
yeah.
that idea. And when I saw your bio, I was like, oh, that's so cool that you guys have something similar happening over there to
Yeah. Well,
support all the smaller places.
yeah, well, mine started as a Facebook group as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I actually joined with two ladies that I'd never met, and we've
Yeah.
still only met once face to face, but they already had a
Crazy.
marketplace. So
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I really want a marketplace, but why reinvent the wheel? Are you interested
Yeah.
in, joining forces? So we did. So
Yeah.
I felt very grown up going into business with people I didn't know.
Yeah. It's brilliant. And for people listening that aren't from Australia, I'm not sure if you know the stats, but I remember seeing it once and just being like this is crazy. Australia's nuts the way it's set up, that can't remember the exact percentage, but like the percentage of people that live in big cities compared to small town Australia, it's like very out of whack compared to every other country, right?
Yeah, yeah, we certainly very spread around in regional
Mm.
and rural Australia, and then of course you have remote, of course.
Yeah.
But I think we've got 23 million, and I don't know what the stats are, but I think there's 6 or 7 million in Sydney, just in one city. So
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of is like a third of our entire population. So yeah, you're right. We are very we are very city density, but
Yeah.
there's lots of small businesses who need our support just like they
Yeah.
would in New Zealand.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, I think it's very important to support your small businesses, especially the ones that don't have that 6 million people at their doorstep to buy from them.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah. So, well, you told us a bit about your businesses, but how do you kind of juggle having multiple businesses and lots going on?
I am a serial list person.
Yeah.
I have lists everywhere telling me what I need to do every day. So my lists start off with the most important two or three things that I have to get done that day,
Mm.
and then I work down from there. So my list is kind of like urgent, needs to be done today, urgent, be good to do, and
Yeah.
if you have time. And it
Yeah.
just kind of keeps working its way around there, because it is kind of it's a lot of work trying to run two businesses, but I guess on both sides, I've got people relying on me, whether it's my coaching clients and that community through my marketing, or whether it's my, the people who belong to the social enterprise in the marketplace. They're relying on me as well. So I guess, lists help, but also knowing what the priorities are and not chasing bright, shiny objects or trying to get something done that really just doesn't need to be done today. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of discipline, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's so true, the prioritizing, because otherwise we just go straight for the easy, the
Yeah.
nice to be done that are pretty easy. And then you
Yeah.
get to the end, you're like, well, I've been busy, but haven't really achieved anything. I've definitely done it
Exactly.
before. Yeah.
Mm.
So, and what advice would you give to someone who has lots of good business ideas but doesn't know how to action them all? Like they think they're too busy and can't take on anything else.
I guess there's two, for people who have all these ideas and have the time to implement them. The first thing I'd probably do is, find an audience, start, surveying the people around you, survey some people online, whether that be through an Instagram story or through an email or something and find out whether your idea's got valid, will people buy that idea? Because there are lots of brilliant ideas out there for small businesses, but the thing that makes a business successful, besides their marketing, is
Yeah.
scalability. You've
Yeah.
got to be able to scale it. So it could be the most brilliant idea in the world, but if you can't scale it, then it can't become profitable and actually become a business, and probably stays a bit of a hobby
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So, but for people who don't have time, I guess it's a matter of priorities. Like, how good is the idea? And do you really not have time? We all say, I don't have time to go to the gym, but I really do. If I prioritized it, I have time to
Yeah.
go to the gym. So yeah, I would have said, 2 years ago that I didn't have time to run a marketplace and a Facebook group with 345,000 people in it, but I do it every day
Yeah.
because I have to. It's part of my business model now. But and really, things start small anyway. Like when you have a business idea, it does tend to start small, so it probably doesn't need 40 hours of the day. But if you've got a business idea and you can't stop thinking about it, give it a go. Some of the best ideas were on a whim. When I started a Facebook group just to really help my local community that were in horrific drought at the time, I had no idea within 2 years, we'd be turning over $1 million, and I would have, all a Facebook group that's so big and a platform. Yeah, so the ideas can start small, and you've just got to test and measure them.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Good advice. So back to the social media and marketing side of things, why is social media and marketing so important? And if you could get people to implement just one thing today, what would it be?
Yeah, so social media and marketing, obviously, I'm going to say is very important because, that's the crust of what I do. But it's kind of like in two camps. Marketing is extremely important. If you don't market your business, then A, the people who need to know you exist, who want to buy your products, won't know about you. But B,
Yeah.
your competitors will be. So
Mhm.
you've kind of got that double-edged sword where if you're not marketing to your people, then your competitors will be and stealing your market. And if you want to grow, clearly more people need to know about that. So that could be word of mouth marketing and having a really good referral basis where, you have this community of people who love you so much, they're always referring in new business. That's still marketing. Social media, on the other hand, is a tactic. It's a form of marketing. Does everybody need it? No, they don't. I've come across some very successful businesses who are built on the principle of referral marketing and word of mouth, and it works really, really well. Yeah, they have a social presence, but it's not what drives leads into their business. But social media is just one of those things that we have to have. I don't know about in New Zealand, but in Australia, if you're not on Facebook, people raise their eyebrows. It's like, well, why
Yeah.
aren't you? It's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like
It's the
what
same.
would have been our white pages, that phone
Yeah.
book that used to turn up every day,
Yeah.
every year. And so it's kind of that. So
Yeah.
it is important to know what platforms you should be on and where your audience is hanging out, because you don't want to spend, if your target market is 60-year-old males, then being on Instagram is probably a complete waste of your time. That's not where they hang out. So you've really got to get that equation right. But then, of course, not only do you need to know the platform, but if we take Instagram, it's a perfect example. You need to then know what to do on Instagram, because you've got stories, you've got feed, you've got TikToks, you've got sorry, not TikToks,
Reels.
reels,
Yeah.
and you've got long form videos. So you've also got to know what your audience is doing there. So so social media is a really important tactic of marketing, but it's not the only marketing you should be doing. But as far as the one thing I would want people to do now, it probably does go back to that social media type of marketing, and that is
Yeah.
to show up. I really find that a lot of small business owners hide behind their products, hide behind their logo, and people actually don't know the person they're buying from. So
Yeah.
I talk a lot about human to human marketing and that showing up for your audience to grow that trust with them. And so that would be my biggest tip to someone, would be start showing up.
Yeah.
Whether it's a short form video or just a post of your face with 3 things you probably didn't know about me. That's what I would say, do
Yeah.
that today.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant advice. And how can people overcome fear and procrastination and just take action? Fear of the
Um
long list, maybe.
Overcoming fear and procrastination is I I guess when I look at the fears and the procrastination I had, it's the Nike, it's the just do it. Just do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Stop expecting it to be perfect. Stop judging yourself as well. I don't know. Well, I don't know about you, Bronte, but I'm, being accused of judging myself quite harshly. Like,
Really.
what will people
Yeah.
think? Like, take me back 3 years ago. I would never have told my audience that I lived on a farm in rural Australia. Like, I thought I had to live in the cities for anyone
Yeah.
to take me seriously. But now that's become part of my story, and other people relate to that part of my story.
Mm.
So it's just about being putting little bits out there and realizing that the world won't collapse. You will survive, and you probably will find that people will love you more.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And that leads perfectly on to the next question is, what would you say to someone who thinks you have to live in a big city to be successful?
No. Frankly, no, just no. No, you don't. But I do think you do need to know your audience, know who you want to attract, but also be confident in who you are, or be comfortable, probably is the
Yeah.
more the word. Just be comfortable with who you are. And it mightn't happen overnight. Like for me, it had to happen over a series of time for me to get used to, putting a little bit more of myself out there and realizing that, oh, that was okay. No one unfollowed me, or no one, told me to go away or anything like that. But I think, realizing that you are an expert in what you do, like whatever that is, you are the expert and you know things that other people would like to know. I think as small business owners, or people in general, we really underestimate what we know that others would like to know, and that always surprises me. So yeah, I think that, just be who you are, but put yourself out there as an expert. Tell people that you know things, and start giving away, tips and tricks and showing up for your audience. And then I think they won't even care where you come from.
Yeah. No, that's so true. Because I think there's definitely like a belief here that you have to be in like Auckland to be successful. Like I did live in Auckland for nearly 10 years, but I moved back to my hometown, Whangarei, which is a couple of hours north of there. And he was like, why would you leave there? Like, how are you supposed to, live your life and be successful if you leave the city? And I'm like, because you can, especially in the online world, you can do
Yeah.
anything you want from anywhere you want. That's the beauty of it. So
Yeah, I know. And it's the one thing the pandemic has probably given us, is that exact gift that, we can, be anywhere and still show up for our audience.
yeah. And what's the biggest lesson you've learned so far? Your
Um,
businesses.
the biggest lesson I've learned so far is to trust myself. trust myself that I do have knowledge that other people need to know about, that I don't need to know everything. It's okay to say to someone, I actually don't know that. Can I get back to you on that? And make sure I do get back to them
Yeah.
on it. Because I didn't probably trust myself for quite some time. And, I guess I played small because of, I thought everyone else knew things that I didn't know, and they do, and that's okay. And,
Mm.
I'm a bit of a lifelong learner. I think small business owners as a whole are lifelong learners. We're all always thinking, oh, what's that? And being curious. I think that's a very good characteristic of a small business owner, is to have curiosity and, just want to learn new things.
Yeah. And that's brilliant. And I definitely agree. I love that whole learning to trust in yourself. And that's kind of where confidence comes from, is
Yes.
confidence is confide, and confide is to trust. So I think self-confidence is to trust in yourself and your ability to figure things out. That is how I see confidence. So brilliant that you are along the same lines as well. So thanks for sharing your story and what you do. So now to go on to the questions that I ask everyone each week, which is questions around confidence. So first of all, what does confidence mean to you?
Confidence means, I guess, for me, it is the trust in my knowledge. That's what it means for me, and to be able to show up for my audience, wherever and when, whatever, like, makeup on, filter on, au
Yeah.
naturel, out walking in the bush, like wherever I get this spark of inspiration to go, oh, I've got something I'd like to share with you, and sharing it. So for me, that, and just having the trust in the people who are in your audience to know they're not going to go, ugh, I'm not going to follow her anymore. Like, and if they do, that's okay. They're not my people then. And then
Yeah.
they just need to go and find someone else to follow. And I'm okay with that. So, I think it does come down to a bit of a trust in yourself. And I don't think it's the loudest and the proudest. I think many people can be confident and still be shy,
Yeah.
and be an introvert, but I still think
Yeah.
that they can have confidence as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to think of it as having trust in yourself to figure it out. I think the people, like, confidence and cocky can be kind of mixed up sometimes,
Yeah.
I think cocky is saying, I know how to do it, whereas confidence is saying, I know I can figure out how to do it. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
I already know how to do it. It means that I have the ability to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's how I like to see the difference between the two. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's such a good example.
yeah. So how do you help people build their confidence?
Um, One of the things that I find with a lot of small business owners that I start working with is their lack of that human to human marketing that exists in their marketing, which is the one way that they can grow and stand out from their competitors. It's a very noisy and busy marketplace, but no one does business like you. If you make candles, you've got probably the most amount of competition you could probably think of, but no one does it like you. So,
Yeah.
that's how you stand out from the marketplace. So, a lot of it is about that, like, just showing up for your audience and, sharing those tips and tricks.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. I love that. I always think no one can do it just like you, no matter what you're doing. So that's so true. And I love the candles because I've got into starting to make candles. I'm like, oh, I love this. And I've got a friend that's right into it. And it's like, oh, I love this. But it's like everyone else is doing it. But, it's so fun to do. And you do it differently. There's so many different ways to make candles. And yeah, totally agree with all of that. So what would you say to someone who's wanting to build their confidence but doesn't know where to start?
Um, what would I guess I would say, very nicely, you've just got to start. And, so many people that I come across, don't like video. So, it's kind of like, well, how are we going to overcome that? How are we going to get you more confident in video? And the only way to get more confident in video is to be on video more often. So, I talk to my clients about, well, just press record on your phone and just start talking to it. You don't have to put it anywhere. Just get used to talking to the phone. And if you make a mistake, mistake, don't press pause because that interrupts your rhythm. Just keep talking and just kind of get used to that. Or do a little video. I think it's time lapse. So, it takes
Yeah.
10 minutes of video and turns it into a 10-second video. You don't have to look at it, you don't have to talk to it, but just go along your daily life, whether you make cakes or do podcasting, and just press record and start showing up that way. I think you won't overcome anything if you don't do it. It just then
Yeah.
becomes a fear. I have an extraordinary fear of going to the dentist, but I just need the only way to overcome that is to actually go to the dentist and realize that, oh, okay, I survived that. Phew, so you've just whatever it is, and break it into small little pieces. Don't think, oh, I need to show up on video, so therefore I need to start, a YouTube channel that runs for an hour. Like that's just not
Mm.
going to work for you. So just break it into really small parts and,
Yeah.
start doing it that way. But yeah, I don't know, Bronte, what do you think? Like for me, it's kind of
Yeah,
like
no,
you can't
I'd say,
overcome fear.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think that it's like looking at the top of the mountain rather than just looking at the first step you need to take. Like you can't just, if you want to get top of the mountain, you've got to
Mm,
look
yeah.
at each step in front of you. You can't just say, I'm going to jump up to the top, right? You've got to break it
Yeah.
into all the little steps along the way. So you're right. And
Yeah. And that's such a good
just like,
a good point as well that I should make is stop comparing yourself to where people are. So stop looking
yeah,
at someone and going, "Oh, but they can show up on video and they're so
yeah.
polished and they're so good." Scroll back
Mm.
through their feed 3 years and see where they
Oh,
started.
yeah.
I bet they didn't start there.
Yeah.
So stop that comparisonitis of comparing from where you are to where someone
Mm.
else is just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And if you told me 3 years ago that I'd be doing this right now, like on YouTube, interviewing people every week, I was like, no way. But you're right, I started small and I just started with the live on my Facebook and just like, here I
Yeah.
am. Totally scared, but just putting myself out there, and then you just build up from there. And yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing this sort of stuff for 3 years, so building up my confidence and doing it. And also, I think people have different strengths. Like if video might not be a strength, but you might be really good at writing, and it might be that you do
Yeah.
articles on like LinkedIn or something is like your strength. And there's people doing videos that like, man, I wish I could write like them. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
comparisonitis when just we do have strengths that you can build on, and then you can take the baby steps to build up in the other areas. So
Yeah, and I bet
that's
I bet you any amount of money that if you showed up on video that for the very first time, and no matter how bad it was, there's someone looking at that going, "I wish I could do that." Like,
yes,
hmm,
100%. And the other thing too is that I found that people actually like it better when you aren't as polished and you're more
yeah,
relatable. Because if you watch someone on video and they're polished and they're perfect and they've got everything, you're like, oh wow, such a professional. I could never be like that. Like, oh,
yeah,
good for them, but I could never do that. But when you see the people that are more real, it's like, oh, she's just normal. I could do that. I'm normal.
yeah,
So yeah.
exactly.
What's something you know now that you wish you knew when you were younger?
Ooh, um, what did I know? What do I know now that I wish that I knew when I was younger? That life is the fact that you need to keep learning, it doesn't
Oh,
finish with
yeah.
school. If you are a lifelong learner, which most small business owners definitely are, most people who want to become successful in life, they are lifelong learners. So, and it's embracing that learning journey. I have a podcast of my own, and I
Yeah.
wanted to start a podcast for 2 years before I started it. And I kicked myself that I didn't start 2 years
Yeah.
before. Like, I wish that
Yeah.
I had have been just like, "Well, you don't need to do a course." Like, in the end, I just watched YouTube videos and learned how to do it.
Yeah.
Probably not that successfully looking back, but I did. I just went and did it. It was kind of like, "Well, I'm just gonna do it." But I wish that I had have, pushed myself a little bit earlier. But I think that lifelong learning is something that I've had to learn to embrace,
Mm.
because the world changes just so quickly. And I don't know how old you are, Bronte, but I'm 47. So
Yeah.
technology happened to me. I didn't grow up with technology, or not all
Yeah.
of it anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah, just got to, yeah, embrace that lifelong learning.
Yeah, no, I'm on the right side of I'm on the right side of 30 and I grew up with technology. Like I can still remember not having a computer when I was
Okay.
young. My little sister only knows life with computers and stuff, but I
Yeah.
have a brief period in my time where we didn't have a computer at home.
Yeah.
And I remember the dial-up days, so but no, but even for me, technology keeps growing and changing and
Mm.
evolving. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I love the lifelong learning. I remember being at university and as I was wrapping up, like saying to my mum, like, oh, I just wish I definitely don't want to do a degree again, but I just wish I could sit in a lecture theatre like once a week for the rest of my life and just learn all the different things there are to learn. And then now, thankfully, with technology, we have like YouTube and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I actually can pretty much get the same experience for free and just learn
Yeah.
and read and self-teach myself everything and anything
Mm.
that interests me. So yeah, I love the idea of lifelong learning and that you never stop growing and
Yeah.
evolving,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So what's the best advice you've been given or your favorite quote to live by?
My favorite quote to live by is one that was taught to me by my mentor, and it's ready, fire, aim. So not ready,
Mm,
aim, fire, ready, fire, aim. And it's basically on the principle of just do it.
yeah,
That's the principle, stop aiming to do something. Stop
and
going,
just
oh, I aim to do this. Like the world
yeah,
needs action takers. It doesn't need people
yeah,
aiming to do anything. So that is kind of ready, fire, aim is why I probably land myself in some hot water sometimes, learning how to
yeah,
swim really, really quickly because I've decided to do this thing and put it out
yeah,
to the world. And all of a sudden now people want it and I've got to, keep going with it or something like that. But
yeah,
it's also enabled me to get to where I am. Like otherwise I would overthink things and I'd
yeah,
procrastinate and it wouldn't be perfect. So it wouldn't get put out there. So ready,
yeah.
fire, aim is kind of the way I live my life.
I love that. I'm going to remember that. Yeah. Fix your aim, fix your direction later. Just get
Yep.
started and then work on tweaking the aiming and the
Yeah. That
direction
is it.
after you've
That is it
started.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have any favorite books or podcasts that you would recommend? Maybe your own podcast.
Um, yeah, my own. No, I so there's it depends on whether you want business or not business. So I
Oh,
listen
it's
to
one of each, maybe?
Yeah, so I listen to a podcast. It is an Australian podcast, and it's called Out Loud. So Mamma Mia Out Loud. It's just
Yeah.
three women 3 times a week talking about issues. I really like that.
Yeah.
It keeps me up to date with what's happening. I don't tend to look at the media very much, and especially
Yeah.
not in the last 18
Yeah.
months. It's been a bit depressing.
Yeah.
So I do like that, and
Interesting.
that's nothing to do with business. That's just fun.
No.
Otherwise, a business podcast, I guess, Amy Porterfield's
Ah, yeah.
was it Online Marketing Made Easy is
Yeah.
really great for startups. I feel I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but certainly
Yeah.
for startups and people in business, early in business, it's a really great podcast to listen
Yeah.
to. If you can put up with the American accent, sometimes that's hard in your ears. But if
Sorry,
you can put up with
Americans.
that, that would be good.
Yeah. The Americans are probably saying the same about us. I'm like, what about these Kiwis and Aussies and their accent?
Exactly. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
That's lovely. I follow Mamma Mia on Instagram. I didn't realize they had a podcast. So I love following the
Mm.
Instagram, the stuff that they put out there. It's really informative and
Yeah, I
great.
think
So
they have like 20 podcasts or something
oh,
like that. Like they're a huge podcast network. So, mm, mm.
lots of different variations of it. Yeah, that's so cool. And do you have any favorite people to follow online? Anyone you'd recommend to, make people's news feed a bit more positive and educational?
Um, other than my own,
Yeah,
of course. So Stacey Cranage is a good friend of mine. She's an Aussie.
yeah,
I think she's at Stacey Marie or Miss
I,
Stacey Marie. So she does a lot of what I do, but she just has a lot of really great content to put out there. Some really great she keeps up to date with the trends a little bit quicker and better than what I do as to what's
yeah.
happening on Instagram and things like that. So I really enjoy her feed. And plus, she's a top lady. So I really like, watching her life and things like that as well.
Awesome. Great recommendation. So where can people find you and connect with you online?
Yeah. So I, believe it or not, being a social media coach, I'm on most of the platforms. Boom, boom.
No.
Yes. Could you have guessed?
Yeah.
I actually like hanging out on LinkedIn. Although
Same.
I must admit,
Because
I've spent a lot of time on Instagram this year, but I
yeah.
do like LinkedIn. I find that a really
I
great
feel
place to.
I feel like it's the internet's best kept secret. Like
Yeah.
there's some good stuff on LinkedIn. I like
There is
hanging
some
out.
good stuff. So,
Mm.
both on LinkedIn and on Instagram, you'll find me at Jenn Donovan.
Yeah.
Um, and on Facebook, my business is called Social Media and Marketing Australia, or of course, the marketplace is Spend With Us Australia. So, I'd
Yeah.
love you to come over and follow that. And of course, my podcast, you can come and listen to my dulcet tones twice a week. Um, it's called Small Business Made Simple. So,
Awesome.
I'd love people to come over and have a bit of a
Yeah.
listen and chat there.
Awesome. Great recommendations. And just out of for everyone listening, with your small business Australian Small Business Network, is that shipping in Australia only, or can anyone buy from there globally? Or
It will go global shortly, but we have kept it as Australia only because there's been no aeroplanes to get things anywhere,
fair enough.
with the pandemic. Like, we only really started it in August 2020. So we have kept
Okay.
it
Yeah.
Australia only for that
Yeah.
reason. But as the airplanes start getting out in the air and, shipping
Mm.
is available, not waiting 6 months to get something. No, we certainly will
Yeah.
open it up to, international posts, but I think at the moment, it's
Yeah.
still just Australia only.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's the same as our one, I think. So if anyone in New Zealand's listening, the equivalent here is called choice, like choice with a lot of O's, which is the same sort of idea. It started during the pandemic. So I love that.
Yeah. I'll have to go and follow that one. That's lovely.
Yeah, yeah, on Facebook. Yeah, and I'm sure other countries would have similar versions of it too. So
Mm.
do you have any final words you want to share before we go?
No, I think that we've been through most of it. It's really,
Yeah.
if you feel that you're not confident in something, find a friend that will tell you to go and do it. Having that accountability buddy can
Yeah.
sometimes be the best thing you can do. Tell someone what you want to do and ask them to keep you accountable to do it. But also
Mm.
have, the great cheerers. Like, if you've never shown up online or on a video or have a photo, tag Bronte in it, tag me in
Mm.
it, and we'll cheer you on. Like, we can
Yes, I
be,
love that.
some of your biggest cheerers as well, just to
Yeah.
give you that confidence to do it again. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's just, about finding that person who will just push you out of your comfort zone, but also
Yeah.
cheer you on as you do it.
That's brilliant. I love that. And yeah, definitely. If we've inspired anyone to go create their first video or their first article on LinkedIn or whatever it is, definitely send it to us or tag us and we will be your big cheerleaders. I'm all about
Yeah.
that. So thank you so much for joining us, Jen. I've loved learning more about you and what you do. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in and watched and everyone who's watched on replay. And we will see you all on the next episode of the Confidence Connection. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.